It's been a very long time since I actually wanted to praise this series, mostly because we have been thrown in unanswered questions, and I hate unanswered questions. But we're now thrown into a very deep despair and a very deep tragic fate that is actually this. Even I think this is good writing. I think this is actually very good, but it's so tragic at the same time. But this answered a lot of questions. Questions we all have been dying to know. However, we still have one question left. And that is how the hell did two enemies just join forces just to curse those two? Was it just because of their sin? Who knows, but this is the Nanatsu no Taizai chapter 224. Meliodas tells us the reason why he can never truly die and why Elizabeths are always being reincarnated. Because 3,000 years ago, they were cursed. As we all know, the Demon King cursed Meliodas. What we didn't know, or probably expected, yet didn't have any proof of yet, was that the supreme deity, aka the goddess queen, who is also revealed to be the goddess Elizabeth's mother, cursed them together. This answers the question of why the archangels all show Elizabeth so much, showed so much respect, because she was the daughter of the supreme deity, the goddess queen, so to speak, as I would call it. This is a typical Romeo and Juliet romance. They were in love. Meliodas and Elizabeth fell in love with each other, and they were of each other's hated clan. So in essence, they committed a sin. Meliodas tells us in this chapter is that 3,000 years since the Holy Word, they were forced with a punishment set upon them. Meliodas' sin was for not only taking the hand of a goddess clan, but also betraying and killing comrades. Elizabeth's crime was that from uniting with one demon clan and saving one of the enemy, the Ten Commandments, which I have a feeling I know what happened. Meliodas may actually have been mortally wounded in battle, and the goddess Elizabeth took pity on him and saved him, and that's how she awoke empathy inside of him, and how they fell in love. I think that's what the sin. So the ones who decided to punish them were the demon king and the supreme deity, the governors of the goddess clan. If you ask me, that is extremely hypocritical. I mean, the clan hated each other, and yet they united just to curse these two? There's just something extremely warped with that. I just cannot place my feelings on what that is, but that is just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Their sins was for loving each other, and that was the only reason why two people that were supposed to be lifelong enemies decided to curse them. Or maybe they decided that death was too good for them, so they decided to do this. But either way, we're finally treating to a page of the Demon King and the goddess governor, the supreme deity. The Demon King, well, I have to admit, that was a badass design. He looks a little bit different though than when he was in Purgatory. Otherwise, he looks pretty similar. He has a badass beard. He reminds me a lot of the Odin. And yeah, he has a big sword. And the governor, the supreme deity, well, she actually looks not that impressive. I mean, she looks very big, have big boobs, and have many wings. The most impressive thing, though, is that she seems to have no face. Her face seems to be... I know there's a religious word for that, but she seems to be covered with a sun. Either that sun is her face, or it's something deliberately. Maybe, though, it's something like you cannot see the divine beauty of the supreme deity, so therefore that is her face. Either way, both of them destroyed Meliodas and Elizabeth as abusive parents and cursed them. Of course, Meliodas did not know that at that time, because he awoke. He did not know why he awoke, but he did. And he saw the dead body of goddess Elizabeth before him. Holding her body, he could only cry, as one would expect him to do. But for some reason, the Holy War had ended, and this confirms also another thing. Meliodas and Elizabeth were not the reason why the Holy War ended. They were the reason why it probably started, but it's not. They were. I thought they were the ones who sealed away them, but no. Reveals that it was Gother who did do something, because the supreme deity and the demon king put aside the differences to destroy their children. I mean, I just cannot get over that. They joined forces just to curse them. It's just something very tragic about that. Either way, Meliodas wandered the lands, realized he did not age after a while. Moreover, he did not realize why the war has ended. Eventually, though, he met the first reincarnation of Elizabeth, who was a barbarian girl, very beautiful, and of course, well, it reacted as we think. He hugged her, and she punched him. Eventually, though, uh, they quickly got along with each other, and eventually, this Elizabeth's power awoke, and she could do healing powers. And so Meliodas believed that maybe this really was Elizabeth reincarnated. And eventually, the memories of the goddess Elizabeth awoke in the human. And she told them everything. I don't know how she figured that out, but maybe she figured it out because it was death. She told Meliodas that they had been cursed. But before she told him what it was, she made Meliodas promise that someday they will break this curse. Someday he will, because Elizabeth knew she was gonna die, and that she did. The human Elizabeth died 3 days later, right in front of Meliodas, skewered by a, well, falling debris, so to speak. And then Meliodas remembers the human Elizabeth's words, and that's when she reveals that the goddess Elizabeth's mother was the supreme deity, and they cursed them. Eternal life and perpetual reincarnation, that is their curse. As we all know, Meliodas' curse is his eternal life. He can never truly die. But at the same time, it's this they neglect to mention here, that his eternal life is not the only thing that they were given him. It was the fact that his emotions will be devoured and the Demon King will rise from that. They made a very big note not mentioning that right here. While Elizabeth's curse was that she will live on as a human, she will age as a human, and she will always forget her previous memories of her previous lives. However, if there is a chance she will regain her memories, then she will die. And that is the reason why Meliodas has always been trying to put Elizabeth of the distance and trying to make her not remembering who she is. Because eventually, in essence, I think we could call this denied a happy memory, or denied a happy moment. So yeah, this is an extremely cruel curse if you think about it. Just because, in essence, what does this mean for a demon like Meliodas and a goddess like Elizabeth? It means no true happiness. That's the reason why the Demon King and the God and the Supreme Deity cursed them, because they wanted to give them a fate worse than death, a life where they never ever will be happy together with each other ever again. And that is messed up. That is extremely messed up. And so the cycle began for Meliodas. The child Elizabeth would always see Meliodas and always fall in love with him because, well, she always would. And 3,000 years Meliodas have met 107 Elizabeths, and 106 times they have all died before him, and he can never get used to that. Therefore, his goal in life has never been for peace, nor for justice, nor for the fact of doing the right thing. All of those things is only for him trying to break this eternal curse. Just saving people, doing the right thing, and teaching them what they're gonna do is just a bonus. Everything Meliodas have done up until now have only been to break this curse. And the only reason to break this curse is by somehow take the power of the Demon King or the Supreme Deity or someone with equivalent power. And he believes that if they kill Seldoris or even the Ten Commandments, then the curse will be broken. And what he learned from the Bharata prophecies, the revival of the Ten Commandments will bring up the end of the 7 deadly sins. So this also answers why they were gathered to kill the 10 Commandments. Killing them will probably dispel the curse, at least that's what Meliodas say. And what will happen if it gets broken? Then his eternal life will end, and and her reincarnation will end. Essentially, they will be at peace, and they will die. That is Meliodas' true goal. And that's one tragic goal. He has lived for 3,000 years, and now it's all made sense why he is not allowed to die. Moreover, why he wants to die. He just wants to be reunited with the goddess Elizabeth in death. And he wants them both to die together. He wants this curse to end. But is killing Seldoris or the 10 Commandments really enough to, destroy this curse? The Demon King did lend his powers to Seldoris, but one wonders. So yeah, I mean, this was a heavy chapter, and I hate to admit it, but it was actually a very, very good one. I say I hate to admit it because I have my ups and downs with the 7 deadly sins. It is a rare. Yet, because of all these answers being unanswered and the extreme amount of despair in the air. And this was a very heavy despair, but it's also an extremely cruel despair. Everything that Meliodas have done up until now is actually seen in a different light, and it all makes sense. And the very fact that parents like the Demon King and the Supreme Deity curse their children, I mean, that's just horrible. That's just further shows just how corrupted they really were. This holy war was not for the good thing. It was just to end each other's suffering. So what happened to the Supreme Deity? What happened to the Demon King? The Demon King is purgatory, although it's not explained on why he is there. The Supreme Deity, what happened to her? Honestly. But if Meliodas says it's true, then technically Nanatsu no Taizai will end very differently than other mangas. Well, not exactly true. There have been some mangas who have ended this way, but if it's saying if what he says is true, then that probably means, that this manga is gonna end when the curse is broken. And once the curse is broken, Meliodas will die. The main character of the series will die. That will be a quite unique way to end the manga like this, but we'll see, won't we? That's basically this chapter. All in all, a very good one and a very heartbreaking one. I really wish we could have punished the Supreme Deity and the Demon King, but if they're that powerful and get back into the story, then what the hell can kill them? And that's the problem again. You're never supposed to create two powerful villains. We all know how that ends. But give me your thoughts if you have any.